For the second part of our introduction to Cairo, we will be completing the variables quest. So the variables quest, if you want to get a hint about it, we can read more of the variables of the Cairo programming language in the book. But Cairo uses an immutable one. You can enforce it to do make your variables mutable. So in this variable number 1, if you compile this one, we will see that it won't make it compile. Identifier not found. Invalid left hand of assignment. Identifier not found. So if you can see it here, this is the example, right? They use let. So you need to have let x equals to 5 here in Cairo code. So if you will put let, they use let here and compile it. Let x equals to 5 and print ln with this function, it will return the value of x. X is equals to 5. So great submitted code. The print with this exclamation point calls a macro. Without the exclamation point, it will call a function. So that one, it will, if you have this, you will call a macro. If you don't have this, you will call a function. So here it's calling a macro here, this one. So for variables 2, let's get it on. Make me compile. So in here we have fn main, the first one, the first function. Let x, if x equals to 10, print x equals to else, print x is not 10. So in here, I think we need to, let's see. What happens if you annotate line with a type annotation? We need to have annotation. What if you gave x a value? So compile, it's missing. Let's give x a value here. What happens if you annotate line 2 with an annotation? So if we give x a value, we need to have a value of x. X shouldn't be like that if we need to use let. As you can see here, x should have a value. Alright? So it's missing a value. For variables 3, for compiling here, Pt.2. So let's get a hint. So on 2, they have a variable binding that created on line 2, which is this. And they're trying to use it on line 3, but we haven't given it. So this is an error that can cause bugs that's very easy to make in programming. So in here, they have a variable binding, but this one, error, missing token terminal expected an expression. So the x doesn't have a value here, so maybe we will use x Pt.252 equals to 21. That's the value, and print x is this one, to have a value here. Okay, it's compiled, you need to have a value. So here, variables 4 in Cairo, variable bindings are immutable by default. So it's here, it says immutable. So it can't be change. But if you know the, like this one, if you know mute, although variables are immutable, you can make them mutable by adding mute. So it's here, let mute. So, but here we're trying to reassign a different value to x. So let x equals to 3. Print x. X equals to, don't change this line. Print x. Remember that you always check there's a keyword to make a variable binding mutable instead. So in here, in the Cairo book, we can see that we need to use mute. Let mute for this to be changeable. So if we compile that, it's gonna be compiled. Let mute x equals to 3. Mute meaning it's mutable, it can be changed. The value of x can be changed to 5 or 3. Okay, that's the keyword here. So if it's gonna run here, x equals 5 and x equals to 3, this one, this will return. So the next one is, let's get a hint. In variables 4 here, we already know how to make an immutable variable mutable using a special keyword, which is mute. Unfortunately, this doesn't help us much in this exercise because we want to assign a different type value to an existing variable. Sometimes you may also like to reuse existing variable names because you are just covering values to different types, like in this exercise. Fortunately, Cairo has a powerful solution to this problem, shadowing. So in here, we will see that they have let variable, let keyword. So we need to, so we don't need to change this line, don't rename this variable, but it doesn't say to change this line. Let. So it's here shadowing. So let's see if it compiles. Okay, it compiled. So it says in our hint that's overshadowing. That's shadowing. It refers to the declaration of a new variable with the same name as the previous variable. So that is, we need to put let, because we have let here, and in order for it to be a number 3 as well, we need to put let. That's shadowing here according to the Cairo book. So in variable 6, make me compile what we have here. Let's get hint. So we know about variables and mutability, but there is another important type of variable available, that is constant. So in here, we have constants, values that are bound to a name. Constants are immutable and they are declared with word const. Okay, constant number 3 rather than the word let. So in here, it's const. So it's immutable, it can't be changed. Constant types must always be annotated. You can read about the constant here. So what we need to do to compile? Constant number is equals to 3, so it is always 3. Small number is 3. U8, don't change the value of this constant. Fn main. Print ln. Now let's try to compile and check what will happen. Unexpected, this one, followed by a type, failed to compile 1, constant number. So in here, what's wrong with the code? Something is wrong with the code. It says don't change this one. Okay, let's try this solution. It's really making my head hurt. How to do this? Gosh. Being in a non-tech background is really insane doing this Starklings variables. So it says constants. So it doesn't return well. Something went wrong. What should we do here? So I need to check with the Cairo book. The problem still persists. What to do here? So maybe let's try to use felt here. I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe that is it. They're doing things here. Hopefully this will be the answer. Compile. So it's still error. What to do is still failed to compile. So okay, let's try to check here in Cairo. It's doing this thing in the declaration, constant declaration. So we need to declare constant. Small number. Don't change the value of this constant. U64. Failed. Felt use. Maybe we'll use U8 size, byte size. Okay, compile. So it compiled. That's what it is. U8. So for the primitive types, tune in for the next video. Thank you for tuning in.